see right now in YouTube chat, just Dennis McPherson just spamming 6-7.
This moron thought that was a perfect game. The main reason why grubs don't affect a perfect game is because when perfect game was defined, grubs didn't exist, okay? And so that number that you can see on the scoreboard should not even be on the scoreboard because it's not even...
But Herald didn't exist.
Yep.
So does Herald not count?
Look, it's debatable.
See, this is the problem.
It's debatable. All right, we do have the Varus and the Annie taken away first up here by Dplus Kia. And there is the Cassiopeia as well.
So notably, this is Dplus's first game having first pick. Last 2 games, it was Kiwoom DRX. We'll see how that shifts the draft now. We've had a lot of power picks banned, but a lot going through as well. Last draft, it was heavy bot lane bans from Kiwoom DRX, where they went Varus, Jhin, Caitlyn. They will keep the Caitlyn ban. We'll see if they still are concerned about this Jhin. Bard, yet to be banned. Jarvan as well. Both of which have been kept out this entire series. Also, we had Karma open last game, and it just got overlooked. So
yeah, that's happened again. May not get overlooked another time, as Dplus with first pick for the first time this series is coming on through. I do have a bit of an excerpt from YouTube chat, and I'm just not going to read it because I'm scared. You know, I might repeat what I read, and I don't want to, I don't want to lose my job. But good bait, Yundo. All right, knew that you'd do something like that, potentially get me fired. Wow, that's a Yuumi in the first round of bans.
That's interesting because I guess they're just worried about a Zeri Yuumi, and if that is rising back to prominence in the LCK. I'm very concerned.
So am I.
Jhin Karma is just a pretty chill setup here, with the Jarvan being prioritized by Dplus Kia. Now, what are you going to be able to pick to match? They go for MF Bard.
Okay.
So I do think that the Jhin Karma can trade pretty well into that, but MF Bard pretty potent. Bard also very good into Jhin, can obviously stop his ultimate from going through. Jarvan pretty good into Karma, trapping here in place. The Rumble will come through for Rich, though. And now you can ban away. They'll go for the Ambassador first. There's also Galio.
Yeah.
Sion is a bit of a losing matchup, but just scales up to be a tank. And as you said, Yorick. So a lot of options for Siwoo that might get banned away. On the other side, jungle pool's already been stretched pretty thin with 6 junglers off the cards now, with a 4 Fearless band, the Nocturne band, and then that Jarvan. And they're going to go even further. Neferi taken away. Pantheon still up and available.
I think maybe Pantheon sort of has to be the last ban, right? Because otherwise, why are you banning junglers?
You know, I feel like it would make a lot of sense, but also Trundle would be pretty good here. The pillar pretty good against the mobile champions, which MF is, and also at interrupting the bullet time. You can just throw the pillar down from such a long distance to stop that. So I wonder if we end up seeing that come through. Trundle has been rising up a bit in priority recently in the LCK. Originally just as in Zao counter, now seeing more play generally. But I do feel like Pantheon is the one in people's minds, and if that's open, they probably will just take that.
I'd agree. Actually, now that you mentioned the Trundle, I feel like maybe that should be the option. We saw Kanavi have a ridiculously strong performance on the champion more recently, as Mel is taken away.
They want the TF, I think, with a Mel ban.
That's what it feels like.
And honestly, the Neferi ban feels super high value, because they were just kind of banning it as a regular jungle. But the 2 picks that I feel like TF really struggles into are Neferi and Mel. Because one of them you can never stun card, and the other one reflects it. Ahri going to come through for Ucal here. And although we were talking about the TF as an option, ShowMaker thinking, hey, maybe I'll go Silas instead, with the option to steal away that ultimate.
Could be a thought. The Aurora consideration as well. These, of course, could be picks for Siwoo. This one definitely could be, as the Galio into Rumble has been played a lot.
Galio Jarvan feels really good.
Yeah.
I always feel like Galio is going to perform better when you have setup for him, and Jarvan is one of the best. And now, deciding on ShowMaker's pick, perhaps not going towards a TF, instead of opting for the Aurora in this situation.
All right. A little bit of a change of tack. Kind of like the TF idea, but not going to be chosen here, as the Pantheon will be the decision between that and the Trundle. And they do not waste any time locking that one in. Ahri Pantheon is pretty powerful, especially in the mid game. You can play around that pretty effectively. I think that Kiwoom DRX's composition doesn't necessarily go the distance, but it sure as heck sprints. Let's just say that.
I mean, I feel like if the Ahri or Jhin get fed, they could just run this game over. There's a lot of power, a lot of explosive power. And on the side of Dplus, I feel like the Aurora is going to be in a good spot in lane. The Galio is going to be a good spot in lane. The only thing I'm kind of concerned about is how this bot lane plays out. MF and Bard, no slouches when it comes to the lane, but Jhin Karma can be pretty fearsome.
And I think a lot of it will come down to Jiu versus Smash, right? The players themselves. Jiu had such an incredible performance in game number 2. Obviously, it's a very different champion to the Inara, which does fit Jiu's sort of hyper carry playstyle that he does like to go towards. But still, I think that there is some angles here. And here are the Dplus Challenger players. They're actually here supporting Sharvel. And we'll see whether he is going to be able to still perform, even with that guy said, Sharvel, I'm watching you. I didn't actually recognize which player that was, but they are all here just seeing how their jungler performs. And he's been in Challenger for quite some time, and so has been playing alongside these guys for a while. You can see a little bit of a smile on his face, see whether they can win. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, onto the Rift 4. Game number 3 between Dplus Kia and Kiwoom DRX. Kiwoom DRX haven't been able to beat Dplus Kia over the last 17 matches. 18 could be the charm this time around. And I do want to reiterate, or just at least share once again, Lucid is fine. He's actually here right now. He was in the coach's booth after game number 2. We saw him. He looked relaxed. He's happy. He's playing in Challenger at the moment. They are just experimenting with Sharvel here for an unknown reason to me. So, yeah, there's been a few people asking in chat. Maybe in YouTube chat, but I haven't been reading. Sorry, YouTube chat.
The bot lane, Jiu and Andil have priority already. I think the main concern is for the Bard. Mantra Q into the Deadly Flourish is a pretty scary combo to face up against. Once that becomes available, you can also follow up with another route from the Karma as well. And already the pressure is starting to mount in this matchup.
Yep. So I don't know whether it gets too much easier as time goes on. You'd have a bit of an all-in angle or something like that, but Deadly Flourish is going to go wide. Korea pretty happy about that one. Jiu and Andil very, very comfortable on the Jhin Bard for now. Sharvel is now moving towards the enemy jungle, though. This is looking a little dangerous, as Willer is also down to about 50% as he looks to move over towards his red buff.
This is risky because of the bot lane priority. And it's a Pantheon who will be able to survive long enough if a scrap happens.
Oh, okay. Sharvel just going for the cheeky little route as he heads over and looks for the Krugs. Oh, wait a second. Wait a second. Doesn't get the knock-up, though. As, okay, now Sharvel is just going to pull this red buff back. Patience is not going to wear thin enough, and Willer is able to lock down the remaining little Krugs.
Yeah, I think Sharvel just pulled the trigger a bit too early. I think if he'd waited, could have stolen the red buff immediately as he went over the wall. He also didn't connect the knock-up onto Willer. I like the idea. Execution a little bit off in that regard. But you see Ray already getting a reset. Was chunked out a bit. We'll get back to lane with some more HP and a refillable.
Yeah, not feeling too worried. We do have Rich as well, winning out here in this lane so far against Shu and the best skin that Riot Games has ever made. At least as far as like extra cool polygons and stuff like that. It's ridiculously awesome. As all right, Sharvel now just getting to work on his bottom side camps. I think still going to be feeling fine about how this one's gone, as he now has, you know, his blue and his wolves to get towards. He should be ahead after taking away most of the Krugs.
Yeah, did you see that Mantra Q into Deadly Flourish combo in the bot lane? Took a big chunk of Korea's HP. Don't commit more for it, though, because they would have to move up against the wall, which is a danger position. Now Willer's looking to challenge here for some camps.
Yeah. Willer get spotted.
Willer with red buff is in a position of strength, but he doesn't want to overcommit into the enemy jungle.
And we have ShowMaker with a bit of an advantage here. You can see Sharvel actually not going to head towards his Krugs and is instead going to try and follow Willer towards his mid lane. Ucal going to connect the charm, though. ShowMaker taking a lot of damage, but they do back away as they spot the Jarvan coming on over. Siwoo is now going to make his way in with a teleport, and Rich going to get flashed on and destroyed. Solo kill for the Galio. And this is not the way that Rich wanted this early game to go.
Siwoo played that super clean. Honestly, early levels, Rich was finding a bit of an advantage, even with the Conqueror for those extended trades. But Siwoo catches him slacking, able to burst him down and connects everything pretty flawlessly there.
Oh, and actually kills himself to the turret.
Yeah.
Well,
not sure the context on that, but honestly, it's not really a big deal at all. And may have been, he was concerned about potentially a gank happening, so.
Also might have been greeting for a plate, but the plate didn't actually get taken, and I think may have gone down and he didn't get the money. That would have been sad. We're going to have a look at this one more time. Siwoo had just teleported back in. And yeah, Rich just gets taunted and murdered.
So the thing is, Rich walks up here to try and clear the wave and thinking I can do this because Siwoo's cooldowns are down, but then they come back up again. Back away, didn't respect it. Siwoo gets another rotation of abilities, lands everything. And I think Rich just had to flash the knockup more than anything, but Siwoo taking it at a good angle. So it ends up being a pretty short pullback before he hits him.
Yeah.
Because he's aiming the pullback in the direction he was walking anyway.
It was a really nice Justice Punch to lock that one down. And ShowMaker, good dodge there on the Orb of Deception as well. Going to win out on that trade here in the mid lane. And having a look, Career and Smash doing okay, you know, continuing to farm things out. And Siwoo will be able to even out the lane. But you kind of want to be winning, putting on pressure as the Jhin Karma. So I imagine Dplus pretty happy with how this one has gone. Willa turning up though, and there is another Deadly Flourish. Maybe I spoke too soon, as Korea has to use his heal. There is the Make It Rain, as Gio's taking a lot of damage. Now Smash going to move on forward here as Sharvel turns up in the nick of time. They take a magical journey over as ShowMaker is almost just dead to Ucal. Was looking for a bit of an angle there, but is able to use the ulti to get to safety. Oh man. Dplus, the only team with a kill, and that is just the solo from Siwoo on that top side, but there is action everywhere in this game.
Some intense back and forth. You can see every lane trying to find some advantages. Siwoo does catch Rich here.
Oh,
gets the Storm Raider Surge.
He already has his Spectre's Cowl completed. This lane is not fun at all for Rich.
He's not having a good time by any means. And Siwoo can kind of just, if you get the full combo off, you do enough damage to proc Storm Raider Surge, you can just run after him until your cooldowns are back up. Be very careful. That's how the trade started. And actually, the pullback on the Orb of Deception, reading him super well there, was Ucal. Doesn't manage to land the kill, but definitely showing he can be a threat on this pick.
Yep. Doesn't have his Spirit Rush now, though, so it might be a little bit more susceptible if Sharvel decides to come in and find a bit of an angle. Maybe they could get the flash out of the Ahri, perhaps, or something like that. As Andil's going to show up and look for ShowMaker. And just connects the line. There's the charm from Ucal as well. There is flash here for ShowMaker, but he might have to use it. And he does to get out of the way of the Orb of Deception. But now has to take the long route back to lane. And the Aurora not doing so well into the Ahri.
Saves it till the very last moment there. Playing with fire a little bit. But ultimately, ShowMaker at even more of a disadvantage. Obviously, had was on the rough end of that earlier all-in, but I managed to escape. Managed to escape again, but now flashless, losing some plates to Ucal as well, who's built up a pretty sizable lead in the mid lane over him.
Yeah, this is considerable. And as a result, Kiwoom DRX are currently 500 gold in the lead. X-Tech Cookie is done here for ShowMaker as well, so I mean, that's something. Get a little bit of damage back, but I don't think you're feeling exactly psyched about it. Aurora pretty good at just farming, though. It might be all right.
Double fishing here.
Oh, we've seen this one before as the flash going to be used from Gio to get himself out of the way. Deadly Flourish, and there are the curtains as well. As Andil flashes in looking for Sharvel, and the flash from Willa will follow. The last bullet will connect, and Gio is going to claim the first kill of this bottom lane. Willa's going to get stunned up. Good sidestep there from Smash as the Dplus bottom lane at least keep themselves alive. But it's not looking great here with the Jhin now having an extra kill. And Kiwoom DRX, I mean, carrying the momentum forward from game number 2 is looking pretty good. Okay. Rich is going to try and burn down Siwoo. Let's see whether this angle is going to work as Flame Spitter comes out once again. Silences himself, does a fair bit of damage, but the walk strategy, Aux,
it's
it
so
works.
Powerful. It was a bit of a misplay from Siwoo there, using abilities and not connecting them. And it gave Rich a window to go aggressive, but he's tanky enough to survive there. To me, this play was very forced. You know Gio has flash, you know you're not catching him with the initial play. And so you have to anticipate that the Pantheon could just turn up. And as much as making a play to burn a flash is positive, you have to think of the consequences and what can happen after.
Yeah. And as it turns out, you can die. And that is precisely what happened. So Sharvel in a little bit of a rougher spot now. Currently 400 gold in the hole.
I also think
he hasn't been back for a while, feels like.
I also think of all the AD carries, mobile AD carries, sorry, Jhin is one of the best at surviving without his flash because you can just ult at such a long distance.
Yeah.
Compared to AD carries like Ashe, which we obviously saw last game struggling without the flash.
Ooh, Tempered Fate going to come on through here as they look for G. He doesn't have that flash, remember, and the Deadly Flourish is not going to work out. Bullet time is fantastic as they just destroy them all. Sharvel is able to pick up the Drake as well. And now Ucal could also be in a bit of trouble. Cataclysm does get the ulti out, and the Charm will land as well. Ucal actually no slouch here in this moment, but ShowMaker's health bar is winning out for now. Andil trying to keep him at bay, but I don't think Akama is going to be helping into this Aurora, as in the meantime, she was once again trading decently well with Rich, who is not able to quite find the damage there, and the Storm Raider Surge actually helping Siwoo out quite a lot.
So in that situation, I was kind of saying how Jhin can function well without his flash, and he can play from a distance. This was not that. This was due, even if he had flash, he was dead here, if I'm going to be real. The setup here is Dplus kind of pinstring from every side, and Kiwoom DRX trapped on the Dragon. Kiwoom just gets obliterated. And then the Dragon gets secured by Sharvel as well. Willa tries to Q smite it and misses. Willa just dies immediately. And this could have been a little bit of an overstep from Sharvel. Does get chunked down, but ShowMaker provides cover for him and he's able to get away.
Yeah.
So a big positive play for Dplus in this one.
And they also got the ult out of Ucal as well. So it might be a little bit of time. Malignance is now done, but Ucal does not have that for the next little moment. And ShowMaker does put his dash cannon together. So the Aurora feeling a little bit better in this matchup. Currently about 100 gold in advantage for the Ahri, but otherwise it is all coming up red as far as those numbers are concerned. On the bottom of the screen, providing Dplus about a 700 gold lead. And that Drake that we were talking about before. Double tech to come on through for our first two at the same time, as I do owe you another thanks, Aux, for your continued attention to the series, as we have just 0 Chemtech souls so far today.
Been a good start. Let's keep it up.
It's got to be a Cloud Soul. That's I'm feeling it. I think it really might be the case. As based on my ruling, Kiwoom DRX no longer on perfect game pace, so we don't need to worry about that conversation for this game. So that is good. Losing 3 kills, I think we can all agree, is probably not going to allow for a perfect game, and the Drake also doesn't help. Just wanted to put it to bed, you know?
Oh yeah, I was wondering if Dplus could still have a perfect game.
Yeah.
If we're counting kills and dragons.
Yeah, I know a lot of people get confused about things on the scoreboard and stuff like that, so...
Can you take a Nexus and it be a perfect game? Is that... no one's ever discussed that, actually.
I think a Nexus is generally pretty important to take if you want to get a perfect game.
Okay.
Are you saying, like, you can lose a Nexus and get a perfect game?
Yeah.
Don't think so.
Don't think so? Okay,
I think
good. I'm glad we can clarify.
Yeah, you need to have the victory screen at the end.
Yeah, I feel like that's a condition.
Yeah, somewhat. That being said, generally a few turrets and stuff need to be taken and things like that. And in order to get towards the Nexus, take it, you know. As I feel like it's probably pretty important. Anyway. Siwoo is going to hit level 11. That heroic entrance is looking pretty good as he has put his first item together. Rich still a ways away from that. And Dplus, this looks very different from game number 2.
Yeah.
Where it was all kind of fallen apart already by this stage. I think that Smash was probably 0-3 at about 13 minutes. And now he's 1-0-1, Bloodthirster in hand, and even a Serrated Dirk hanging out, looking for a collector item number 2.
This is the point where MF feels really good, specifically into lanes like Jhin Karma. We saw early on Ju and Andil having a good amount of pressure in a 2v2, but now that Smash has Bloodthirster, there's very little you can do to him. You can just sustain up the poke you have, sustain up and make sure he's not in like 4-shot range. Obviously, if you root him and pop an ult and have backup, that can be a threat, but not the easiest target to pin down with that extra movement speed from the strut. So Smash, he can kind of just do his own thing right now in the bot lane, and it frees up Career to roam as he pleases around the map.
I'll see where he's going to please to go this time around, as the Bard is currently doing some exercise in the enemy jungle. Andil is down there as well. Could be a little bit dangerous. So ShowMaker's moving over at the same time. Willer is down there as, oh dear, Gio dealing with some bullet time, but is able to walk himself out to the side. And now Korea will be able to find that Cosmic Binding. There's a knock-up onto Andil, but Willer is over here. Deadly Flourish will connect. And now the curtains have been called once again. Korea finding the Tempered Fate as he provides a magical journey for Sharvel, who flashes himself out of the way. But everyone gets on in there. The Cataclysm comes down. ShowMaker gets on in here, but is he going to be able to do enough? That is the question. Yes, if the answer is be able to kill the Pantheon and the Karma as he grabs himself a double. And Gio, oh dear.
I don't think he makes it out of this.
Left.
Yeah.
All right, just channel the back. Surely things will be fine. Meep Slap comes through, almost kills Korea, and does have barrier.
Oh!
In fact, he's kind of outplaying them.
Wow. I was certain that he was just dead there. I was like, there's no way at this HP you're going to be able to live this, but Siwoo with the fancy footwork outplays Dplus. Still a favorable play for Dplus overall, but Siwoo able to survive.
Yeah, I think the sub-in is looking like a good move here on KRX's side. So Gio having some fancy footwork.
This is a bit of an overcommit from Dplus into the enemy jungle, but Korea does a good job of blocking these Jhin bullets and buying time. And even though the Jarvan does eventually go down, look at how Dplus just sends blood in the water and start chasing down members of Kiwoom DRX, even committing so many flashes to it. And then this play, I knew we'd get a point of view for this one because this was crazy. Dodges the Bard stun, which could have just led him to be dead. The route into the flash, sidesteps that as well. So clean from Siwoo.
And just doesn't say anything while it's happening as well. Kind of beautiful, as you're going to find a Deadly Flourish on to Korea, but too much else going to happen there. And as you mentioned, still was a winning play for Dplus, as they have stretched that gold lead to about 1.5k. The Drake is now alive as well, as Dash Cannon gets ShowMaker to relative safety, finds a lot of damage onto Willer, who just dies. All right.
You know, Aurora with Rocket Bell is not an easy champion to pin down, and Willer just got a little bit ahead of himself. Was like, hey, if we force these cooldowns, puts us in a great spot for Dragon, but he went further than that. He really wanted that kill.
He forced some cooldowns, though.
He did, but I don't think they're really going to be a factor with no jungler up.
He forced so many cooldowns, he himself is on cooldown.
Yes. Although he's coming back up soon, and Dplus haven't made a move towards his dragon yet. There is also a decent amount of vision in the area. Now they will start it. If Rilla really wanted, he could just ult in here. There's a question mark ping coming through.
Oh, let's see whether he goes for it. Right now, he's just pinging towards his wolf camp, so I have a feeling that this Drake will just be secured by Dplus. That is looking to be the way. So double dragon over to Dplus Kia. ShowMaker, we're going to get this one from his perspective.
Yeah, managed to get the ult down before he gets charmed.
Yep, he was just telling everyone to look out for the Ahri. Wanted to kill her too, but not going to be able to find quite that angle. She hasn't died just yet in this game. Gio going to be able to interrupt Smash here and clears out the minion wave. And yeah, Dplus, I mean, this feels a whole lot more like game number 1 than it did game number 2. And that is good news for Dplus fans. But Kiwoom DRX, they're not that far behind just yet. You know, it's not end of the world. The problem is, I look at their comp and I feel like it's very mid-game rather than let's scale, you know?
I feel like both of these team compositions have kind of more mid-game leading carries, but
yeah, I guess you're right.
They're still going to be pretty functional. There's no true hyper carry on either side here.
I feel like MF at least has like a little bit of like more steroid in her build.
You're just a bit of a Jhin hater, if we're being real.
I am also that.
Yeah.
100%. I will admit it.
But Jhin, once he gets his full crit items, can do good damage.
Yeah.
Big if.
Yeah. Sometimes able to defend a dying Nexus. That's very true. We've actually seen Jhin find a lot of success more recently. But I do feel like Jhin is there to augment extra carries. And Kiwoom DRX do have a pretty good Jhin composition because Rumble does a lot and Ahri does a lot. And now, Gio might be doing a lot, as I could be eating my words. Andil just dies in front of him. All of the buttons land. Smash goes golden as the ulti comes in from Willer. Gets a whole lot of shield and keeps himself alive for so long. Down will go Gio, and now ShowMaker is going to get charmed. But yeah, Ucal can be pretty charming, but he's still dead. That is a double over to the Aurora, 6-0-1.
And Kiwoom DRX have made it their mission to kill Smash last game, and seemingly it's bleeding into this game. So much invested here, and I think one of the mistakes Andil made here is just use the Mantra W. It's a longer route, you get the self-heal, he Mantra Qs instead and just dies.
Yeah.
But even if he had gone for the Mantra W, I don't think this is a super favorable play. The protection that comes in for Smash, he does eventually go down, but the cost in return is absolutely massive. Dplus fly in to clean up all of these kills, and now there's a pretty substantial gold lead for Dplus, 4,500. The only consolation for Kiwoom DRX is that Baron hadn't spawned yet, otherwise they would have lost that too.
Yeah. It's very, very rough. That being said, one thing really did stand out to me in what you just said, and that was Kiwoom DRX made it their mission to kill Smash. Well, guess what? Success.
True. They did do the damage to his KDA over the series.
Yep. And sometimes, you know, my old friend Stephen Yeeki used to say, everything all depends on what your goals are. And if their goal is kill Smash, who cares if you're losing the game? You know? Because the goal is laid out in front of them. They killed it. They did it. As Rich is maybe also going to die. She doing a lot of damage to this this Rumble. Did just want to get towards the minion wave and had Andil in tow, so he wasn't actually going down. Still, things going all right here for Dplus as well. This counter pick for the top laner of DK working out. Siwoo looking fantastic. Storm Raider's Surge in hand. And he can make rifts as well. So it's Fiendish Codex versus full second item.
He does have the tier 2 boots as well.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Not a big sell.
So still not feeling all that fantastic, as Magical Journey will be taken here by Dplus to get themselves out of dodge. Sharvel has been very aggressive this game. Does have item parity with the Pantheon at this point.
It's one of the things, when you have the Bard backing you up on these aggressive pushes to get vision, both you can just Magical Journey away if you go a little bit too deep. Setup for Dplus started early for this dragon, third dragon of the game. You can see them getting those wards. One nearby the Raptors, one nearby the Red Pit. Kiwoom DRX are trying to move up their vision to contest this, but Korea is now resetting to pick up some more wards. And we'll see. I think he might put a ward down at Baron just in case.
We need the stat of, like, out of all of our mid laners, who buys Mejai's Soul Stealer the most? I'm pretty sure it's ShowMaker by, like, a massive margin.
It is.
That's what I would assume. Unless it's Faker just because he's been in the LCK for longer than anyone else. And we have champion stats as well. That could also be an angle, but I swear, ShowMaker buys this one all the time.
They are trying to take those stacks away from him. That is the game plan here. You can see from how they're set up, but it's given over so much space in the mid and top. They're pinging to go aggressive here, Dplus are, and I think they know. You can see ShowMaker backing away, wants to protect those.
Oh god, they've got Rift Herald. Okay, well, the outer turret does fall on the bottom side. Kiwoom DRX will be starting off this dragon.
Oh, Sharvel steals this. It's going to feel so bad.
Yeah, and there is also there's a Rift Herald on the inhibitor turret in mid lane, and they lose control of the dragon. She teleports in. That is a brilliant amount of damage onto ShowMaker, but he just flashes out of the way. Goes into stealth. He's got a gargoyle to help him out. And Dplus also keep him alive. Okay, the curtains are going to get called here. Let's see whether Gio can get any real damage down, but it looks like the answer to that is absolutely not. Rich overheats, looks for some damage towards Gio as Gio's still moving forward. Magical Journey going to be taken by Sharvel to get himself to relative safety as Smash still moving forward, still looking for the targets. And a teleport in from ShowMaker. They take down Rich and ShowMaker ain't done yet. Ucal takes so much damage into the charm once again though, but the dash cannon almost finishes him off. And he does have the little bit extra to take out the Ahri. And ShowMaker is not done yet. It's now looking for Gio here as he looks to get back towards his base. Not going to be able to, and almost just dies to 2 buttons from ShowMaker. While Sharvel is on the Drake, the rest of DK are looking for a Baron.
The dragon going to be scared, and it just felt like Kiwoom DRX trying to pick ShowMaker. And I mean, it makes sense. High priority target, if you can take him down, it'll really help your team fight. But just couldn't layer the CC long enough or get the damage to follow up. And end result is Dplus get an even larger gold lead. 3rd dragon of the game, 1 away from that Mountain Soul. We'll see the replay here. So the ult from the Galio really saving him here. Flash as well afterwards. And then he's just staying back. He has TP in 13 seconds at this point. The Jhin ult here also was so weird because no one's low. She was lost a little bit of health, but Jhin ult does execute damage, so you need people to be low on HP, and that's why I just did absolutely nothing. So Jhin ult kind of wasted. They go for Sharvel here, but aren't able to follow up. And as you see them overcommit and the TP coming in, I'm honestly kind of surprised they didn't lose more members. I saw this moment and thought, oh, they are all just dead, but ShowMaker only manages to get the Ahri, and the rest of Kiwoom DRX managed to run away, but I was very scared for them in that moment.
Yeah, Dplus though, they are going to be able to grab themselves the Baron. They are pushing on the top lane as Rich is looking to try and get some damage down onto Siwoo. The Winds of War coming on through as the Equalizer will get the flash out and the Justice Punch will be blocked, and Rich will be able to burn down the Gargoyle and win out in that 1v1. Pretty surprising, and actually will take a lot of wind out of the sails of Dplus.
Yeah, I think eventually you just get enough damage to be able to do that. Siwoo just getting shredded over time, much more about the burst and the sustained damage compared to the Rumble. And Siwoo still has a big role in these teamfights. We just saw a highlight of him saving ShowMaker, but the 1v1 definitely feels like he's not doing so hot right now.
Well, let's see whether ShowMaker can try and bail them out here. 2 levels in the lead.
Maybe he is hot right now because he just died to Rumble.
Hey, yeah, true. Barbecued Gargoyle. Oh, okay. ShowMaker is now showing himself. The Sharvel is over here. 3 seconds on Siwoo. And they're just getting control around this Baron. You can see there are so many wards for Dplus, as Korea takes a magical journey to get himself out of the way of a potential awkward situation. Obviously, Willa can just throw himself in any time a Baron is going to be started. It's just whether or not Kiwoom DRX can really know whether that is ever going to be something that he should be doing, because they cannot get any vision in the area. Right now, don't have a scrying orb or anything like that. And it's only Smash that has one of those up and available right now on the Rift. 7.6k going to be the advantage. Dplus do need to go back and take the Baron at some point if they do want to get it. You know, it does involve killing, even if they do have all of the control. But there are 3 items now built up onto Smash, and man, this must feel terrible, right? Like, Jhin on these first 2 items doesn't really do a whole lot. The problem is now you're staring down 3 and you're only halfway through your Mortal Reminder third.
I mean, just look at the items between ShowMaker and Ucal.
Yeah.
Like the Rabadons with Medjais on 14 stacks to back it up. It's tough seeing this comparison right now.
Oh, Sharvel looking for an angle towards Andil here, who takes so much. Cataclysm onto Gio. My goodness, 3 bullets. And there's the bullet time point blank as Ucal is just going to put down Smash. Okay, 2 for 1 so far as Rich is pretty strong, but he's going to be held in place by this Tempered Fate. They're going to set up the, the knock-up onto Willa in that backline, and the delivery of the Gargoyle is going to work out. I kind of thought that was all just going to be set up onto Rich, but instead they turn it onto Willa, who just came down from the sky. Decent charm from Ucal. He might be able to escape, but he's the only one.
Bit of a chaotic fight, but once again, the Galio just buying so much time. Sharvel does go down just, but I feel like when you're trying to assassinate these targets, being slowed down, really painful. Here, though, neither Andil or Siwoo have flash, so Sharvel's fishing for an ult opportunity, and Smash just kind of goes in-your-face mode. Kills off the Jhin, kills off the Karma, and pops the ultimate to get that much damage down, though. But when you're trying to go aggressive and get onto these more desirable targets, I feel like Siwoo is just playing a good job of disrupting in this situation. You see here, he manages to turn the play around onto Willa, although Sharvel, still in the Malignant spin, does just kind of die.
Yeah. That didn't quite work out, but otherwise, I think it was really smartly played.
ShowMaker now has a Storm Surge and 20 stacks on his med.
Huh. Would you say that perhaps the Aurora is quite strong?
Yeah. I think that's something I would say.
All right, well, Kiwoom DRX are at least able to push out a wave here in this mid lane. 10 seconds on the Mountain Soul availability for Dplus, and they do find a Deadly Flourish onto Korea. That could be problematic as he's taken most of his health bar. Flashing out of the way, there is the Blast Cone as Willa needs to get over and does find the Spear in the darkness to take down the Bard. ShowMaker now, with all of those stacks on his Magi's and all of his very cool items, is looking to just try and win the game.
Yeah. No one right now matching in. There's pings coming out. They want someone to move in. But at least Kiwoom DRX get the Dragon and delay the Soul. So that's something to be said. A nice pick from Korea lands them that. But they won't get away with it completely scot-free with Sharvel stealing away camps, ShowMaker taking down that tower.
Yeah.
He does a lot of damage to towers at this point. Despite not being a champion that typically does just that much AP, it's going to do work.
He is 8-0-2. The man has a lot of stats right now. As Andil moving over, does manage to get a control ward down. That is good news. Kind of thought that Kiwoom DRX were just never going to be able to get any vision towards this Baron area, but they have at least been able to sneak in and grab some for the moment. But Reset is pretty fresh here for DK. And ShowMaker and Rich, the two leading the charge when it comes to damage, separated by under 100, which is pretty funny. Okay, let's have a look at this one more time.
I mean, this is just a prime example of Bard's rotund hitbox stuff for him. Gets rooted here, and then the chase continues. See him flashing to try and get away from the Jhin, but then it's just Willa with a spear over the wall to finish him off.
Very
Not a ton
nicely
you can
done.
do it, outplay that. I think Bard gives you such a sense of safety when you're playing him. You think, oh, you know, it's so hard to punish me, so hard to catch me out. I can just magical journey.
Oh, okay. Sharvel going to get turned on here as he is going to find that double knock-up. Gio going to get put into the Tempered Fate as now ShowMaker throws down the Between Worlds, and already Willa and Gio have both gone down. And Sharvel, I believe, had a GA anyway as he flashes towards Ucal. That's kind of crazy. I did really like the Capybara, though, as he gets on top of Andil. He's going to settle with the kill onto the support instead, has Career in tow. As Ucal looking to teleport away, and he will be able to do that. I just don't know whether that is going to help as the rest of Dplus are destroying Nexus turrets. Flag and drag will be the end of the Karma, and this minion wave is going to get tended to by Rich. Can he actually defend in time, though? That's the question, as the flash taunt comes in from Siwoo, and he goes golden to make sure he stays alive at the same time. They've ran out of minions, though, and that one turret is actually doing a fair bit of work. Finally, the minions will refresh themselves, and Dplus on the back of an 11,000 gold lead will be able to finish off Kiwoom DRX and keep their winning streak based in 2022 alive. 18 in a row for the squad, although this one did look a little bit harder after game number 2.